Hello, and welcome back to another episode of It's Okay, Baby Girl. Hope you guys are all doing well. All of my baby girls out there, okay? It's just me and Yapany back for another episode. My microphone's name is Yapany. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but one of my friends, a good friend of mine, she helped me come up with a name for this microphone because I felt that it was appropriate. And it gives her a little bit, more of a personality because she just be helping me yap. And she seemed like a Stephanie to me, but she a Yapany. So anyways, enough about my microphone. I am feeling very inspired right now. It is currently 12:34 a.m. I worked a night shift last night and I slept during the day, and I just chugged some coffee and I'm ready to go. And I have some ideas flowing. They've been kind of, floating through my head right now, but right now I'm feeling inspired, so I'm gonna get this out to you guys. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it.
Qu'est-ce que je vais te nommer? Je vais te nommer l'amour, l'amour tendre, l'amour qui chante doucement dans mon cœur, l'amour sans logique.
So I've kind of gotten in the habit of looking on my past a lot, just to reflect and see where I was at maybe a few months ago or a year ago or even a few years ago, a decade ago. It just helps to put in perspective how far you've come, the things that have changed in your life, and how you've adapted to them since then. And it's also interesting to see the plan you had at the time and how nothing has gone according to plan. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like every time I make a plan for something, it goes sideways. And at the time, I feel like the end of the world is happening and I'm never going to be okay. But now when I look back on majority of the things that have gone down in my life, I realize that it was not the end of the world and things actually turned out better than expected. And I didn't know that that's exactly what I needed to get where I need to be today. Because today, I am grateful, I'm happy to be where I'm at. I am so happy that things turned out the way they did. Can't imagine life any other way right now. And so I've gotten into the practice of, yes, wanting to, have some ideas for my future and have somewhat of a control over how things play out. But I know that even if I have a fucking plan, it's never going to happen the way I imagine it to. And that's okay. It's helped me to kind of let go of my will and just see what happens. Go with the flow. Let it go, let it flow. Because I'm telling you, God or the universe, whatever you believe in, any higher power or your fate, your destiny, there's something better out there for you than anything you're going to come up with yourself. Promise you that. And something that I really thought about this week was the fact that I've started over so many times. And it can be exhausting in the moment when you feel like you got to start over. It can be terrifying to make that leap or that step towards starting over on something that you've invested so much time in, so much effort in. It can be in school. It can be in a job. It can be in a relationship, in a friendship, in a certain city that you live in. It could be a whole bunch of things, a hobby or something that you're trying to get kickstarted. It's just not working out and you want to start over. There are so many examples that I can think of in my own life where I've had to start over and I was freaking terrified. And I just wanted to share this with you a bit because I don't know who needs to hear this, but if this is a story that helps you today, then I did my job. But a little bit about my story is that when I got out of high school, I already knew I wanted to go to nursing school. And I had the college picked out. It was in Ohio, as far away as possible from my family because I just wanted to taste the freedom and live life and do the whole college life thing. And I had a plan. I actually wanted to be a nun at the time, which is crazy to me now, thinking back on it. But I wanted to go to Ohio and become a nun. And I wanted to become a nurse as well and probably settle up there, honestly, in that area near the Ohio River Valley. Today, I do not live anywhere close to that. I live in Texas, where I grew up. I am a nurse, though, but it took a lot longer than I had anticipated for, and it was a rough journey to get to this point. But that's why I wanted to share with you guys what happened and why it's okay to start over, because that is a huge part of my story, is starting over again and again and again. And it never ends, man. That's just life. You starting over all the time. Every day is a new day. You're starting over on life every single day. So I know it's scary to start over because especially we get so emotionally invested in things or in projects or in things that we want to pursue, but there's no shame in starting over when something is not serving you. And sometimes you are forced to start over. It might not be a choice, but you have to. And those can be really rough transitions. Let me tell you, when I went to Ohio, I actually did my prereqs the first year for nursing school. And I failed, or I just didn't score high enough to get into the nursing program. So the second year that I was there, I actually had to take a bunch of classes over again, majority of them, to make a higher mark to get into the program. And then I finally got into the program, and I failed out of the program, okay? It was awful, and I felt so ashamed. I had to suddenly move back down to Texas, and I was not ready for that transition because at the time I was very attached to being up there. I was very attached to the people up there. I was in a relationship. It was heartbreaking to have to suddenly change everything that I thought was going to happen was suddenly not happening anymore. I had to go to new school. I had to, make new friends. The relationship I was in ended up, failing, or not failing, but it ended eventually, And I thought my life was genuinely over. Like, I was at one of my lowest points in my life. I was not doing well at all because the transition to being back home with my family was rough. I mean, they were very upset with me and they were really trying to figure out why I wasn't doing well and, what's going on. Is this even for me? I questioned if I was even meant to be a nurse, but deep down I knew there was nothing else that I could possibly do that would fulfill me as much as becoming a nurse. So as much as I was terrified to start over and go to a new school, I pushed myself and I did it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a good period to get my shit together and start over and see how we can be better and see how we fucked up, up north and how we can change our patterns and habits and not mess up again. So that's already like starting over twice because I did my prereqs again, got through the nursing school and still failed out. And then I came down here and yeah, at the time I was falling apart. I'm not going to lie, for a while, for like a solid year, it was a very rough transition back home. I felt very out of place, felt like my freedom was being taken away because I was with my family and I had a lot of freedom up there. But then I realized it forced me to actually look within and figure out what was going on internally that was impeding me from being my best self in school. Because for the longest time, I already struggled a lot academically. I was never a good student. I was very like B's, C's. I am not dumb, but I'm not a school person, I feel like. It was always very rough for me. And also, the longest time I thought I had ADD because that's what I was diagnosed with when I was younger. Turns out I just got really bad anxiety. And when I started getting medicated for that shit, my life turned around. And this was kind of like a fresh start. And so, yes, I was freaking out when I first got back. But then as time passed on, I started taking meds, started putting my head down and really focusing on school. I realized that I was never meant to be in that place long term anyway. I actually saw it for what it was. And I realized that it's like planting an oak tree in a tiny little pot. It's not going to grow to its fullest potential when it's in the wrong environment. And that's exactly what was happening to me. Yes, it was a nice place and I had good friends over there, but it was definitely not the right fit for me. And I know that now because I'm so grateful that I actually got to finish up school here and be in a better environment that is more suited to me as a person and what I'm looking for in life and the opportunities that I'd like to pursue now. So it actually worked out in the end. Now, also, the summer that I came back, I was in a relationship, and by the end of that summer, that relationship ended, and I felt like my world was crashing down because at the time I was really invested in trying to make it work, but I knew deep down, too, that it wasn't going to work. But I felt like, I invested some time in this, and I invested a lot of emotion into this, and I was so scared to start over because I'm like, now I got to put myself out there and meet people, and people suck, and in the long run, I realized that was also for the best because we both knew deep down that this was never going to work. And not just because of the distance, just because we're not made for each other. And that's something I'm so grateful now because at the time, I really didn't even know who I was. This transitional period that brought me back down to Texas actually forced me to look myself in the eyes. I guess look at myself for who I am and figure out who that is, because I actually didn't even know that. So even though it was like a very sudden transition or a very sudden change, it actually was exactly what I needed in that moment. I'm looking back 3.5 years later, and I am so grateful that everything happened the way it did. Yeah, it was rough, it was hard, and it was very emotionally tolling, as a lot of changes can be. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's okay to start over. Even when I got back, I still had a lot of things that I needed to work on, and I tried and failed and tried again and just kept pursuing it. Sometimes you got to start over in a new environment, in a new place. And it can be so scary, because that's the thing, is you don't know what's going to happen. You can hold on to your current situation, whatever it may be. You could hold on to that relationship that's not serving you. You could hold on to that school that you're not getting the most out of academically, or that degree that is not what you really want to be doing. You could hold on to those friendships that are really dragging you down from the person that you are made to be. You could hold on to the city that you're living in, thinking that's exactly where you're supposed to be, but there's somebody else or someplace else that's calling you to get up and make that move, change that job. There's so many examples of things we hold on to, and it's for the sake of safety. It's not even for the fact that it's helping you or making you feel fulfilled. It's for the fact that you're afraid that if you let go of this one thing and start over, start clean slate, fresh, that nothing else is going to come along that's better. But that is so false, and I can guarantee you that, because I've seen it within my own life. Every time I start over and I'm afraid to let go, things that I thought that I wanted come in threefold. I'm telling you, there's so many examples of this in my life. I started over at a new school, and then I actually ended up making way better friends that fit what I want, and I got through a program that is more suited to my learning needs. I was able to really discover who I am as a person. The city that I was in was not it for me. I did love that area, but I knew in the long run I was not going to bloom there in the way that I've bloomed now. I mean, the opportunities that I've presented because I let go of something have come in 10 times more. You will never be disappointed. You have to trust. But the thing is, nothing is going to come your way until you let go. A door must close in order for another door to open. You can't just try to slowly transition out. You got to make that move and just trust the process and see what happens. Okay? And it might take some time. It might not happen overnight. Okay? I had to work hard for another 3 years before I got out of school and got that degree and got licensed and got that job. And even now, you still have to take that leap of faith. If you feel like the city you're in is really not it for you, and you are thinking in the back of your head, maybe what if I move somewhere else? Maybe if I got a different job, different position? What if I go back to school and just start over? What if I, I'm really honest with myself about my relationship with my partner, and I realize this is really not serving either one of us, and we're actually hurting each other by sticking around? What if we just let go and start fresh and see what happens? You might feel like a sigh of relief when you let go. Something better might come your way, something better suited towards you. It doesn't have to be about being better. It's more what fits you best. Okay? So do not be afraid to let go and start over. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing that says you're too old to start over, okay? You could be in your 50s, your 40s, even your 30s, any age you can start over. The world is at your fingertips. We have so many opportunities these days that our parents and our grandparents did not have. We don't have to worry so much about survival, not nearly as much as, the people who came before us. And it's because of their hard work that we have the opportunity to freaking start over. Isn't that amazing? I think about that all the time, that we're so blessed. Or at least I feel very blessed. I don't know. Everyone's situation is different. But odds are you can afford to start over, and it's okay. But obviously you have to take your time, think it through. I wouldn't just say impulsively drop everything and start a new life. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you know in your heart, you feel something's nagging you and you feel like, yeah, this is really not working for me. Or maybe you are forced into a situation where you have no choice but to start over, like I was. Just see what happens. Let it go, let it flow. That's all I have to say, because when I let go of my will, I finally saw the path that was actually meant for me. And it's not what I expected, but it's so much more beautiful than what I had imagined for myself. And I am so grateful every day for the fact that I actually made that choice to see what happens and to be open-minded and just kind of let the process run as it's supposed to. I know it can be terrifying, but you're never too late to the game. You're never too old to start over. There's no shame in that. You would rather start over as many times as it takes to get to where you need to go than to be stuck in the same miserable life that's not serving you and look back when you're at the end of it and regret not making those changes. Because again, as I mentioned in a previous episode, you only get one life as far as we know that we're consciously aware of. So take it or leave it. This is your time to live your life and experiment and try new things. Try a different path. Start over if you need to. You shouldn't feel ashamed or feel obligated to stick around because of a certain number of months or years that you've put into something. If it's not serving you anymore, you gotta let it go, because there is clearly something else that's calling your name, and you should believe in that. Because I believe that the universe or God or whoever you believe in is very abundant and never stops offering us blessings and opportunities so long as we are open to it. But it requires a little bit of surrender, a little bit of trust. You gotta just let go and see what comes your way. The more you hold on to something, the more you're stuck. And feeling stuck is actually worse than starting over. I'm not gonna lie. I would rather start over again than feel stuck. Because stuck, you're not going anywhere. Starting over, at least you're going somewhere. You might not know where, but you will find out soon enough. But if you're okay with where you're at right now and you want to feel stuck, if you're cool with your situation right now, then stay stuck. It's fine. But if there's something really nagging at you and you know within your gut, within your heart, that you're not where you're supposed to be, just let go. Be not afraid. That's what I always say. I literally have it tattooed on my rib under my heart because it's one of my favorite phrases from the Bible. And it's repeated so many times. And it has been one of the phrases that I have personally identified with in so many scary moments in my life. Be not afraid. I don't want to be scared, man. I don't want to live in fear. That's no life to live. So be not afraid. Take that leap of faith and start over. I really hope that whoever's listening to this, if you're in some sort of situation where you can relate to what I'm saying right now, I wish you the best of luck. And I hope that all the blessings that are meant for you come to you. And that everything, all the opportunities that you've really been looking for and that you're meant for come your way. And that you feel that peace. The peace that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, you know what that feels like. If you feel restless, you feel unsettled, you know you're not where you're supposed to be. So keep that in mind and trust your gut. Always trust your intuition. You know deep down. You know, even if it's scary to let go of things, you know what's the best for you. Because even if you don't let go, it might let go of you first. And even then you might actually feel a sigh of relief. And if you feel that relief, that's how you know that it wasn't meant for you. So anyways, with that being said, enough rambling. I really hope this helps because it's really scary out there and it's hard to start over. But I'm telling you, in the long run, you will regret sticking around rather than taking a leap of faith and trying something new. I know that I've never regretted starting over on something, but I've always regretted the time I spent trying to make shit work when I knew it wasn't going to work for me. So with that being said, I hope this helps and I hope this resonates. Whoever needs to hear this, I am here for you and I feel your pain. It is scary to start over. It's scary to try something new. It's scary to let go. But I'm telling you, the moment you let go of something, close that door, close that chapter, something new will come your way. There's no doubt about that. I have full trust. Like, I swear on my mama. I trust in that so much. I believe that when you let go of things, the universe has a way of blessing you in weird ways, in ways that you never could have imagined that you would have received for yourself. So be not afraid. Take that with you this week as you go on about your life and really think about the areas of your life that you might need to start over. There's no shame and it's never too late. Never forget that, okay? But anyways, if this helps, please feel free to share the podcast, pass it on. We're all about helping each other grow over here. So please share and let your friends know to check the podcast out. We also have Instagram and TikTok, so I'll leave that in the show notes below. If you want to check it out, give us a follow and you can keep up with me and all the fun stuff that's coming up. I know it's about holiday seasons coming through and there are going to be some exciting announcements coming your way. So if you want to know, follow the Instagram because I'm going to tell you all a lot of fun stuff over there. And just remember, it's okay, baby girl. You got this.